Top of the morning to you, friends. Today we're going to talk about some monster sports cards, sports memorabilia sales, and why I think that happens. Stay tuned. Hello to all my sports card collectors, investors, all of my collectibles friends. How is everybody doing? I hope everyone is having a great week so far, a good start to your week. If you are new here, we come out with sports card and collectibles content almost every day, so make sure to hit the subscribe button. If you like what you hear, the like button and also the notification bell. It helps us to get our videos out to the masses, and we very much appreciate it. Today, we're going to talk about some high rollers, as one of my friends, Chris, baseball card collector, investor, dealer, would call them. They have been spending here over the last couple of weeks. Well, they've been spending for a while, but we're going to kind of dig into a few of these sales and just an overall take on why I think that this happens and relate it to another market that I think has some similarities when it comes to these high prices. All right, a lot of talk about the Kobe PMG 97 green Kobe PMG that recently sold for over $2 million. And a lot of people questioning, man, why would you buy this particular card for $2 million when with $2 million, you can get some really, really wicked Kobe cards. You know, you can get all these different ones, blah, 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 here and there. Rookie cards, you really get his best rookie cards. Green PMG is numbered out of 10. So there's only 10 that ever existed. Obviously, an extremely difficult pack pull card. You're not going to pull these in packs. They're very condition sensitive. They're foily. They're very shiny. The surface is the big thing. The edges, if you have edge issues, it shows up pretty easily on these. And so the other part of this card is it's a BGS 8.5 grade. There's one other BGS 8.5. The PMG craze, I think a lot of people are looking at this as the best Kobe card, most scarce. There's a huge emphasis, especially recently, on the 90s parallel cards like this one, those metal cards, really the late 90s, early 90s, not so much. Late 90s, where you have kind of the new auto or the start of autos and memorabilia cards. The PMGs have gotten a spotlight on them, especially over the last 3-4 years. And there is kind of a big argument against, rookie cards versus these types of parallel cards, these really, really rare parallel cards. You see gold prisms. Would you rather have a gold prism over a rare rookie card of that particular player? And that's something that's a fairly new debate in the hobby. If you go back if you go back to vintage, there were no parallels. So there wasn't really a debate on that. Nowadays, there is a little bit more debate because you do have kind of manufactured scarcity where you do have these cards that are numbered out of 5, numbered out of 10. They're one of ones, blah, 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 whatever. So you have these kind of debates on a particular player. Do you want a top end, high end rookie card for that particular player? Or would you rather have one of these, really rare parallel cards that might not be a rookie card, but extremely hard to find? And that's an ongoing debate, kind of a newish debate, but something that is kind of interesting to watch. Sports Collectors Daily also has here a ticket stub from Jackie Robinson's big league debut that recently sold for $480,000. This is one of 7 known ticket stubs from this particular game. And you're seeing a rise in ticket prices in general. I don't own any tickets. It is an interesting market, and I can understand the coolness factor of something like this. I mean, this is basically, to me, when I look at a ticket that's from Jackie Robinson's big league debut, that is a historical event. It'd be like having a ticket to a presidential inauguration for Abraham Lincoln or something. It falls kind of in that historical significance bucket where sports memorabilia crosses over to history importance. And so that is but what I will say, I think, for as far as tickets go, is that would be an exception to the rule as far as how I'm looking at it. I think a lot of people will probably try to get all the tickets that they can and try to get them graded. But people are going to look for the really significant events. And then there's probably going to be various price points based on that. And again, I'm a ticket novice. I don't know anything about that particular market. Learning about it and just following, of course, the big prices that are being paid. I believe this would be considered one of the more prestigious tickets within that particular market. And again, I don't know that market, but I would have to think that would be an important one to own. So I'm thinking that the high-end collector slash investor that's looking into it is thinking, I want the best of the best in the ticket world, and this represents that at the current time. Also, another huge sale that I thought was just really cool, a final game Mickey Mantle jersey sold for $2.19 million. It's autographed. The last Mantle jersey that went for this much was $1.32 million. That was the last high for a Mickey Mantle jersey in 2018. And so, again, you're seeing sports memorabilia that's getting huge numbers. And people will say, like, who would spend this kind of money? Why would you buy this? This doesn't make any sense to me. And where I can kind of cross this over, correlate it to another market. And again, two very different markets, but it's another one of those markets where it's like, how do people spend this kind of money on this particular item? It's art. I was looking at an article in Art News, Picasso paintings. When you look at Picasso paintings, the highest paid price, as far as I could find, for a Picasso painting was $179 million. It was bought by a collector in the 1950s, and then recently, over the last few years, sold it for $179 million. Bought in the 50s for about $200,000, which, granted, in the 50s was a lot of money, but $200,000 moving into $179 million. And I think a lot of sports people would be like, why would you buy a painting for $179 million? It's a one of one, of course. There's not another one. These are original works of art, and so when people are spending $179 million on a painting, a vintage painting, because Picasso, painted it a long time ago, vintage sports cards kind of fall into the same kind of mindset of it's older, and he got it obviously when Picasso was popular, but didn't realize it was going to age that well, I'm sure. Maybe he did. Maybe he just appreciated the art and was like, man, this is cool. And it just so happened that a lot more other people thought it was cool too around the world. And now you've got Picasso as kind of this mega high-end art product. And so it's not necessarily just for every single signed item, whether it be a signed helmet or a signed jersey for a random player, but you're looking at the high end of the markets that are really, you've got people that are on this high end, they want the best of the best. So when it comes to the Kobe PMG green, they're looking at that as this, the person that bought that looks at that as the most important Kobe card, whether they're right or not, whether there's a better rookie card for Kobe or not, the person that bought it is looking at it like, I own the best possible Kobe card that is available. And yes, I had to pay for it, but that's where you'll see many, many multiples on that very high end. If it's a one of one, if it's a, one of 10 or whatever, but it's highly prestigious, that's where we're seeing mega multiples on that sort of stuff. The Mickey Mantle jersey as well, where, you've got, I don't know how many of those exist, but not enough come up for auction. Mickey Mantle being an absolute legend in the baseball world, somebody's going to want that. Somebody's going to pay for it. And again, this is not something you can just jump on eBay and it's like, oh, this week I'll grab that, or maybe I'll wait till next week. This is stuff that pops up, every couple of years, every 5 years, every 10 years, this stuff comes up for sale, and that's why it fetches a massive price. Guys, what do you think about these high-end sales? Do you think that I'm right? Do you think that I'm wrong? Do you think there's any sort of relation to art and the buyers, what type of buyer buys this sort of stuff? I know that I have talked to one particular high-end buyer. I'd like to have him on, off-centered, big-time buyer, high-end buyer. And I would like to try to get him on off-centered, but just to kind of pick his brain, I've talked to him a little bit about the mindset that goes behind it. And it's interesting. It's no different than car collectors that want those high-end, Bugattis that come out, Lamborghinis, and also the vintage stuff, the vintage cars. It's in collectibles in general, that high-end, there's a fight, there's a chase for that high-end stuff. And the billionaires, the multimillionaires, they want it, and they want to get ahead of it too. What's ironic is a lot of people say $2 million for this Kobe PMG. That's crazy. The person that bought that, I'm sure they're probably thinking, I got in on this early enough, because I think it's got room to grow over time. And then also it's bragging rights. It's like, hey, I've got this that nobody else has or very few people have. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did you buy the green PMG? I certainly did not. Maybe one day, but probably not. Have an amazing rest of your day. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.